Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's conference is part of a journey that the United Nations system has been on, together with the 3 Ebola-affected countries, the sub-region, and other major international partners. It's a journey that began with discussion in Brussels in March, carried on in Washington, D.C. in April, and now has led to this major international Ebola recovery conference convened by the Secretary-General. In the run-up to this, there has been painstaking work done by the 3 governments in the Mano River Union on what the needs are and to put figures and costings and plans around those. I think we can say we're very encouraged at the whole spirit of optimism around the conference and the willingness of partners to see that this is a long-term endeavour, that these countries have incredible potential. They were showing that potential before Ebola, and there does need to be support to get back fully on that development track. I think, like us, you have been tallying up what you have heard, and we can only, at this point, give preliminary figures on the response because we need to go back to contributors and cross-check everything so we do not double count. But we would understand that in addition to previously announced pledges of around $1.8 billion, the announcements today are estimated at around $3.4 billion, which would take the total announced for recovery to this time to over $5 billion. Well, we consider this a very encouraging response. We will now have a process beyond this of going back, contacting people, setting up the tracking systems for money coming in, money allocated, but we feel that this puts the recovery off to a very positive start. Now, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Nabarro to say a few words. He has done an incredible job mobilising support in hard dollar terms and other terms around the stop and treat phase, and in very much supporting this recovery pledging conference as well. David, over to you for a few words.
And so, really, everybody, as Helen Clark has just said, this is a very encouraging moment. The amounts pledged, more than $5 billion, represent a really fantastic springboard for the recovery effort. Everybody at the meeting today has stressed that the partnership that we've had for the response to the outbreak must be sustained into recovery. We've had a real commitment to accountability from all concerned. We've had businesses and non-governmental organisations who don't have cash to pledge, but who promise that they're going to sustain their efforts. And we have a real sense, as we finish today's meeting, that yes, it's been a terrible tragedy, the Ebola outbreak, and there's still work to be done to finish it, but the world is going to stick with these countries as they recover and get back onto the track to equitable social and economic development.
Thank you.
Oxfam recently did a study of pledges, previously to Haiti, Gaza, and Lebanon, and found that slightly less than 50% actually came through. So these are big numbers, and I'm sure. What steps does UNDP going to take to make sure that they're paid or to report on actual transmission of the money?
Thank you for the question. I saw the Oxfam article as well, and it is true that the pledges made at previous conferences have sometimes been honoured in the breach rather than the observance. So it is our collective job now to be going back to everybody who's pledged and being able to say that we are making the best endeavours to see that the money comes in and is allocated for the purposes for which it was appropriated. Can you translate.
Quelles les populations des pays affectés peuvent attendre de cette réunion et quelles seront les prochaines étapes à partir de la réunion d'aujourd'hui?
So I couldn't get that. No. Yeah, okay. Yes, that's what I thought. So yes, what can they expect?
Well, there have been very substantial amounts of money announced at this meeting and previously. We calculate over $5 billion. This is incredibly helpful to the recovery. It's helpful in strengthening the health systems. It's helpful for the water, hygiene, sanitation sectors. It's critical for the education. It's critical for institutional strengthening. It's critical for jobs and livelihoods. It's critical for regenerating confidence in the economy. So across the sectors which have been identified as priorities for the recovery in the government's plans, I think we can feel very optimistic that some hard support is in behind it.
Je dis en français ce que Helen Clark a dit. On espère qu'entre 2 ans, les populations des pays trouveront que les services de santé, les autres services sociaux et aussi l'espace pour les entreprises de recommencer le travail, qu'ils seront là et qu'entre les 2 ans, les systèmes dans la société seront beaucoup améliorés.
The President of Liberia mentioned also that they were seeking $4 billion for the sub-regional plan. The money today, that was to meet the $3.2 billion funding gap for the national recovery plans. Is that correct?
At this point, we have not been able to do a breakdown about precisely what is counted against what. Yes, it's correct that Manu River has a plan which is compiled across the countries in the Union, and the individual countries have their plans. So it will take quite a lot more analysis to see what should be attributed to what. The total ask from all of that was around $7 billion. So to come out of today and previous announcements with over $5 billion announced, around 5.18 to be precise, we think is a great start. Thank you.